Greetings, I'm Tom Bengtson, publisher of BankBeat Magazine, joined again by Sam Wilmes, the digital editor of our website, banknews.com. Very busy week in the community banking world, and Sam, I know that yesterday you spent a lot of time covering the conference hosted by the Federal Reserve in Washington, D.C. Tell us a little bit about what went on there.
Yes, the conference was the first under Federal Reserve Vice Chair of Supervision, Michelle Baumann, and really reflected the Trump administration's goal of deregulation and regulatory tailoring. Both Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, he was the first presenter during the day, and he talked about that and actually expressed support of increasing the deposit insurance limit from $250,000 to an unspecified number. He said he was pleased that there's bipartisan support for that. A bill was just introduced this morning by Bill Hagerty from Tennessee and Angela Alsobrooks from Maryland on that. And so it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
And it's a day-long conference, several presenters. Besides the Treasury Secretary, who did we hear from?
Well, we also heard from Michelle Baumann at the end. She spoke on regulatory tailoring, and Jeff Sinnott from Vantage Bank discussed his bank's entry into the stablecoin market. And it's just it was day full of note-taking and coverage. Actually, we got a story up yesterday on Scott Bessent's presentation.
And do you think this was just a PR stunt, or was this a substantive regulatory event?
Substantive. I mean, it definitely wasn't a PR stunt. It was important. I mean, there were a lot of community bank leaders from the Midwest in the room.
And it sort of affirms what we've kind of assumed, which is that we are truly pivoting in terms of the regulatory outlook, right? I mean, I think we kind of have seen that, but this puts it in words.
Correct, yeah. Bessent, he went after the Biden administration's regulators for the stances they took against community banks.
Sure. And of course, we had a pretty big event right here in the Twin Cities. The Bank Holding Company Association seminar took place on Monday and Tuesday. You were there.
Yes.
What were some takeaways from that meeting?
Well, the first presentation of the day, Jackie Hilgert, our editor-at-large, covered. Nathan Stovall from S&P Global, he gave an update on the M&A market, and that's heating up, due partially to the regulatory changes and just the pent-up demand from the crackdown from the Biden administration.
Yeah, so of course it was a conference focused on mergers and acquisitions, and one of the presenters, Joseph Seithamel from Barak Farazamo, he noted that there have been 119 deals announced so far this year, and we're on track to do about 160 total for the year. Now, of course, Monday was the day that Fifth Third Bank announced that they are purchasing Comerica in a deal worth almost $11 billion, biggest deal in a long time. And there was some sentiment that perhaps is going to now open up the floodgates with respect to M&A. Do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, is that realistic, or what do you think?
Well, I think it's definitely a sign that M&A is heating up, and just I would expect more regional bank deals in the months and few years ahead, and from community banks as well, as the desire to scale grows.
So Nathan had an interesting comment noting that out of the deals that have been done in the last year, so that was about 120, only 9 of them were done by acquirers who had done more than one deal in a year. And of course, the investment bankers always watch this. Who are the acquirers going to be, the ones doing multiple deals over time? And that number is certainly higher than it was a year ago, but even at 9, that is comparatively small from the numbers we saw, in 2015, 16, 17, in that time frame, when there were, 40, 35 banks that were doing 2 or more deals per year. So, any other highlights from the BHCA seminar?
Just an outstanding event, one of the best that I've attended since I joined NFR in 2021. And yeah, it was outstanding to see all the banking leaders there and the vendors and being able to cover that.
Right. Well, it was a good meeting, and we're very grateful to all the folks who came out and were part of that, both presenters and the seminar attendees. So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you very much for being with us for this edition of Community Bank News. And we'll catch you next time.
Take care.